Hey everyone, welcome to the American Sidebar podcast. I'm your host, Joe Fitzgerald. Along with me, as always, my co-host,
Brian Mason.
On today's show, we have former Navy SEAL Joe Masalta. Brian, can you tell us a little bit more about Joe?
Joe, our following guest joined the U.S. Navy in 1989, before most of us had ever really heard of U.S. Navy SEALs or what they really did, except for from some movies. As a member of the legendary Team 1, Joe honed his skills in the land, sea, and air and became a jump master and a member of the U.S. Navy elite parachute team. After a brief hiatus from the military, Joe came back in as a SEAL, fought some bad dudes, and then left again, joining some of the most elite ex-warriors as a private contractor, conducting some of the most secretive missions, dressing up as a Mujahideen fighter, and guarding high-level dignitaries such as Hamid Karzai, where he also conducted anti-piracy operations on the oceans, protecting our shipping industry from pirates, as seen in the Captain Phillips incident. With all these exploits, he gained real fame when he almost married one of the most controversial Real Housewives of New Jersey, Danielle Staub. That we're going to talk about in a later episode as a teaser. After running multiple successful businesses of his own, he's now a consultant for major firms, law firms, businesses across New York City, such as the Madziar Law Firm in New York City. Joe, welcome to the show.
Stand by for the show.
Tick, tick, boom. Who bringing the noise? Go, baby, we bringing out toys. Separate men from the boys. Chopper be singing, should be on the voice.
And we're live. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have you.
Yeah,
Thanks
you
for
guys
coming in.
Joe, we'll remember that.
Yeah,
Right.
Your name's Joe. I'll remember Joe.
Yeah,
for sure.
right. Forget about
of
the
Joe.
The
last.
Italian last name, I'm not sure if I can remember that.
Yeah,
but
right. Everybody thinks it's Italian. I'm actually Filipino.
Really?
Really?
Yep, yep. I've had friends for like 25 years. They thought I'm Italian, and I just laugh. I'm like, yeah, okay,
Really?
yeah,
That just threw me off.
right.
Like,
Totally
he's
comes from the
definitely
Philippines.
Is he
When
bullshitting
Facebook,
or is he serious?
no, he's serious.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, tell us about yourself. So, you were a Navy SEAL in 1991.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So I.
We're allowed to talk about that, or we gotta edit this.
no,
Just
we can
kidding.
talk. Yeah. Right. Right.
SEAls don't like to really say anything in public.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like to write books or anything like
Right.
that.
They don't like to be public.
They don't like to celebrate when they kill Osama bin Laden and stuff like that.
None of that stuff. Yeah. Actually, in public, when people ask me, I just tell them I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
And then it takes a while to come out. And there's actually a Marine I met through a veteran event. He goes, wow, I'm really surprised it took you that long to say you're a SEAL. I
Usually
laughed.
screaming it from the rooftops.
I laughed, yeah. Yeah, but it seems like a lifetime ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, yeah.
What was that like?
So it was a blast. I loved every second of it. I look back on it and I'm thinking, there's so many more opportunities I should have taken advantage of. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Grew up in Oregon, and then like 2 weeks out of high school, I was in the Navy. And I went in to go in underneath an air crewman contract. So I was going to fly around in UH-60s and track submarines and be a rescue swimmer. So I did all of that when I first went in. I went through the schools. And then when I was learning to track submarines, they call it AW, anti-submarine warfare. I was doing that over in Millington, Tennessee. And then I found out about the Navy SEAL program. And it looked cool. It looked like fun. I mean, what 19-year-old wouldn't want to go run on the beach and blow things up and shoot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had already finished rescue swimmer school. And then I really wasn't good with academics, okay? And I was having a hard time in that program learning how to use the sonars and track submarines and stuff. And I was like, that SEAL program looks pretty cool. If all I got to do is run and swim and shoot, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I actually applied, got accepted, and then went to the training. Was there from June of 90 to December of 90. And made it through the first time. Thank God.
I was just gonna say that. That's awesome.
Thank God.
Isn't there a lot of academics in the SEAL? In this,
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
you have to be a lot smarter than
Well,
people realize.
I had a hard time with dive academics, to be honest with you. I had a hard time with that.
Yeah.
But then I got over it and I passed. So, I guess different motivators, right?
What type of education? Is it more, kind of specific to what you do as far as diving and shooting and stuff like that, or is it like history? And what type of academics?
No, I mean, I think that if as long as you have a good grasp on 8th grade math, you'll be pretty good. But, I can't say that I really had that at the time. I was much more athletic or I would say I was just much more drawn to anything that was physical, right? Whether it was, sports or fighting or whatever, anything that was physical, I liked that. Okay. But then as time went on, you mature and you realize you need to study, you need to get into the books and grow your mind some. So that kind of developed. But going through training, you guys all heard all those stories going through the training. I mean, it's interesting to me when I hear things about like, oh, my secret to making it through Hell Week, right? Right? Well, yeah, don't quit.
Yeah.
I say it to my son all the time, like, hey, you want to finish that?
They said you can't pick out who's gonna quit, right?
No, you just really don't.
Because guys are like studs, and they fail.
I think, to me anyways, when I look at somebody, there's a difference between somebody being a stud, all right, and somebody being very athletic, like they're a great swimmer or they're really great at lifting weights, and but there's a guy that's just a pipe hitter, and you can tell he's just a hard motherfucker, and like he's gonna make it, right? As long as he doesn't get injured, like they're gonna make it. But again, I mean, you have people that are small and tiny make it through. You have people that are big and strong and look like they belong on the cover of Men's Health and Fitness, and they quit. They don't get their nutrients, and that's why, since you mentioned it, I kind of laugh when I hear people saying like, "Oh, I have ice delivered to my house, and once a week, and I jump in the ice bathtub." Like, that's freaking stupid.
That's a new fad now.
Yeah, right. I use a little harsher words, but it's so stupid. Like, number one, I don't know who just wants to torture themselves. Okay, but also you're controlling that. You're not really proving anything. Mm-hmm. You're controlling that. Okay, it's like going to the gyms. Okay, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do this workout. I'm going to do so many sets and so many reps. Well, when you're going through training, like you don't have control over nothing. Not a thing.
That's when souls get broke.
Right.
Especially like if you're running, if you ever ran, kind of in a in a group setting, and you think you're doing 3-4 miles, and then all of a sudden, you see home base coming up, and then they make a left turn, and then you're going right up the mountain again. You're like, whoa.
It's not over.
All of a sudden, it's like you see souls getting broke at that point. People just start falling,
Right.
You gave me a good good thing on ice buckets. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should create something where they go into the ice bucket, right? There's a chamber that goes off over the top, and there's a random number of when it comes off. It could be 5 minutes, could be 10 minutes. You don't know. You just, you go into it, unlocks, at random.
I could see doing the ice after a big workout, but some people that do it 4 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't get down with that.
Well, they say that it's there's real benefit. I guess there's a I forget how they say it, but it's basically there's adrenaline that it causes inside of you that your body really thinks that you're dying, and it starts sending all this different reactionary chemicals and stuff to.
And did you mean it so much as people think, oh, I'm hard because I'm doing that? Like that means that they could persevere through something? Because meanwhile, like you're saying, they're choosing it.
I'm sure I'm offending a lot of people.
Yeah, that's all right.
I love haters. I love haters. So
Joe Rogan just shut us off.
Yeah, yeah, he's a big promoter. He says he does it every single morning.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. So what you're talking about, Joe, is dopamine.
Yeah.
With the adrenaline coming through. Mm-hmm. So if you study dopamine, there's different factors with that, right?
And it's like the vagus nerve. If it's under the ice, it helps you somehow, right?
I just like the word dopamine because it has dope and meme, So it's but in reality, like when you look at special forces people, right, whatever branch it is, they have extremely high levels of dopamine all the time in their system. Okay, and that's what can start causing a lot of physical problems for people, right? It's not really recognized. There's been medical reports coming out on it and so forth, but that dopamine is actually good for you, yes. But after times and so forth, it can start becoming a negative thing. And yeah, there are some positive aspects to doing that, but if you're doing it to try to be hard, that's what I think, and that's kind of what I get.
Yeah,
like
I get that.
That's what I get when I hear.
Because I think if they feel like I'm doing this, that makes me tough.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you're going to get through. You're not going to. Quit.
No. I remember people would always come to me and say, "Hey, how should I train? I'm taking cold showers," and I'm like, "Don't do that. That's dumb." First off, you get a cold injury, you get a heat injury, your body weakens. Right? It doesn't strengthen. It doesn't make you like if you got what's it called, like frostbite. Okay, you're not going to be like all of a sudden I'm immune to frostbite.
Yeah.
Right? You get a heat injury. Oh, all of a sudden I'm immune to a heat injury, right? All you're doing is weakening your body there, right? So, our people that put on like boots and go running in the sand and stuff, it's like, okay, so you just want to get shin sprints early,
Toes
Yeah.
go numb.
Right, right. Like you're going to be tortured enough there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be tortured enough. But
You should tell them to get a tattoo of the Navy.
Yeah, go start with a Navy SEAL tattoo.
Yeah.
That'll get you through it.
right.
Pain is weakness, leaving the body or something.
There are some people that got that stuff. I think it's awesome,
know,
man.
yeah.
I'm like, fuck, you're hard.
Yeah.
Before they went in?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that did it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the guys tell me the stories now, and I think, that's fucking hard, man.
Yeah.
That's
You had
awesome.
Way to put
Wet
a big target on your back.
Like, you're a savage.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's like what we were talking about earlier, like I'm just going to stand next to the really tall guy and then bullets start flying. I'm like behind that person. But yeah. So training is just, just don't quit. Go there.
Do you, because you went in before when it was peacetime. Right?
Yeah.
And then you got a taste of the GWAT. So did
Yeah.
you see a big difference in guys? Was it any difference with guys going in, like peacetime, compared to the guys that were coming out of training while you were active, while they knew that they were definitely going to war? Is there any quality difference, or is it all the same? Right? It doesn't seem to.
I didn't really notice a
You didn't
huge
notice it.
difference. I mean,
They still ferret out a ton of people, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like more people were passing training or
Yeah.
anything, even though they were going in probably more prepared.
So I left right when, what was that, June of 2002. So it was pretty much right when the war was kicking off. Okay? I left and I went to Afghanistan on a contract with DynCorp. I was on Hamid Karzai's protection detail.
Oh, wow.
Over there. Okay. And frankly, in the early days, a lot of us
Were you one of the guys in the newspaper that got blown up that with the grenade when the grenade went off?
No.
Were you there? Remember that?
I didn't. I know
That was
what
pretty
you're talking
wild.
about. Yeah.
You remember that, Joe?
No.
There was a picture of guys on a detail, and they tried to kill him. And the one
Yeah.
guy, I thought he was Army Special Forces, but it was SEALs. And I just heard somebody talking about this recently, and he like killed everybody, all the attackers or something like that.
What happened? It was in Kandahar, and that was before like I was there, a part of it.
Yeah.
But that was if we're talking the same thing here.
Because I remember it was on the news. It was in the newspaper, and the guy had a beard. His shirt was ripped, but he had like a shirt wrapped around his head. He had gotten wounded, but the big takeaway.
Those
like,
were tier 1 guys, and they were
Yeah.
dev group guys.
Oh,
that were on
okay.
that. And that's what ushered in contractors on that.
Yeah.
That incident you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's when the higher ups, like Pentagon level, were like, "This is too high profile. We don't need to have our tier 1 operators here." And
The one thing that pissed a lot of people off was the only thing the higher ups had to say about it was that the guy violated the grooming standards.
yeah.
And people whose like kids are in the military,
That's
like
what it was.
these guys just saved that president's life, and that's all they. That's all they didn't say. Like, wow, guys did a great job. They
I watched the
gotta-
videotape on that. I don't know if I can. I mean, I watched it. It was from the State Department when I was going on that, and I watched videotape on that.
Really?
It was pretty, and I know the shooter on that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like, if I'm allowed to or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never even seen that public.
Mm-hmm.
But,
They did it. His picture was in the newspaper.
Okay.
I don't think it was blurred out. I don't remember if it was or not. But yeah, it was,
Civilian?
no, he was
No,
in,
they were.
he was in
they were dev group guys.
Dev Group guys.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's assassination attempt, but a lot
It
more.
was
goes-
wasn't it in? I think it was. They said publicly on. It said it was guys inside his inner circle, and I guess somebody got wind of it. Somebody made a move, and this dude waxed everybody. But he was like,
Maybe we're talking two separate.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably don't know what. I just know the CNN version. Well,
Sounds like it'd
Fox
be a good
News-
movie.
Fox News. It would be. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah,
the-
a lot of that stuff.
I know the Fox News version of it, not your version.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah. I wanted to make a movie. It's called Life Under the Top Hat, and it's about all the buffoonery that goes on, which is pretty awesome. I mean, it's
In the
fun
military?
stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I never experienced it. I mean, he did. So
Yeah. That's fun stuff. But, move fast forward to today. 2015 was the last time I went overseas. So from like December of 2002 to 2015, I was doing contract work. I did get recall for the war, but I did all training stuff. So I went to a training detachment in San Diego. And that was from like 04 to 05.
I got recalled in 2003, and I was in the training depot. in
Yeah.
San Diego as well.
Yeah.
So
The Marines have the base. They train at the same base, right?
in California,
As
well, it's Camp Helen is where
Oh,
we
okay.
train. There's a Navy base in San Diego that's
Yeah.
across
Coronado.
Coronado. Yeah.
How is that being on
golf
the other
course.
side of it? Like from being a recruit to now being the guy that's training. How did
What do you mean?
like you were in you became an instructor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To be instructing?
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. I actually learned a lot more.
It
being an
becomes more like a
instructor.
job, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's different because you're in the military, but you're not. You're just there to like instruct, and you got a certain time that you go on, and it's like
Because now you were an instructor for the Buds candidates, or
No.
to SEAL,
Trade
just
at,
the SEAL.
Trade at in Naval Special Warfare is short for like training detachment.
Okay.
So the platoons are all going through a workup.
Oh,
We
so
gotta
this isn't
do certain
recruits
things,
coming
so
through.
no,
This is guys who are
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
I don't
was,
know all these acronyms.
I was in air operations. I left SEAL Team 1 February of '96, and I went to Yuma, Arizona to be a military free fall instructor.
Oh, cool.
So I was there for like 4 years. I went 2 years over the Navy parachute team, and then went to Team 3 for a bit, and then got out and
Nice.
You still
did
skydive?
contracting. I haven't skydived since 2015. So I used to do a lot of like charity work where they would auction off a tandem skydive with a Navy SEAL, and they would Madison Square Boys and Girls
I was
Club
just gonna say that. I
specifically.
saw that video.
Yeah.
You weren't the rabbit that comes down on Easter, right?
No, but that's pretty cool.
Did
you
you
ever
ever
see that?
do it in military, Joe? Do you ever? I did an AFF jump.
Yeah.
In 1994, my first plane ride.
Yeah.
I almost crapped my jaws.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great.
Freaking blast.
I spy rigged. That's it.
What is that?
Yeah.
Hanging off the back of a helicopter,
Oh, okay.
Black Hawk. I was on the bottom.
That would
which
scare
is
me
brutal.
more, I think.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. Just because you feel like you are held on, but you also have all the weight of everybody that's on you. Being the last, being the anchor. It's rough.
Yeah. Spy rigging. You have a harness on, big line from a helicopter hanging out there. In that line, there's a bunch of like D rings sewn in there. Okay, they're integrated in with the line, and you hook up to it. Helicopter lifts up, and all these guys are below it, like a bunch of dopes on a rope.
And they just say string.
It's a means of extraction.
Yeah.
It's a means of extraction.
It's like
in
Vietnam
really tight
stuff.
area, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds scary.
They did it in Kandahar when they set up communications originally. They spy rigged in to set up the first communications
Yeah.
setup. So
Yeah. But right after Buzz, I went to Fort Benning to go to jump school, and I was terrified of heights there, like just terrified. I mean, the ground was low. It was Fort Benning. That was static line, and the ground's real low. It looks like right here, right? And I was like terrified of heights. But then after I remember taking off at C-130, and like it was packed, just packed. You're like scrunched in there. I looked at the guy that right at me. I go, well, I guess we can't really turn back now, huh? And he's like, no. And that right now, I'm not gonna be a pussy. I'm like, okay.
Did anybody? You ever see anybody turn back?
Oh
and
yeah,
say they're not doing it?
yeah.
Really?
I've seen some people do that. Yep.
did you ever see that viral video on TikTok where the guy's like, "Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something."
I like those
He's like, "Wait, let me tell you something."
Yep.
When I did it, they made me. I was in a Cessna, and it was like I said, it was the first time I was ever in a plane. And they're like, "All right, come on." And I paid for a camera person.
Yep.
It was, I mean, this is so long ago. It was on VHS.
But you're probably up at 12,000 feet.
It was 12,000
Like I was
feet.
down
yeah.
like I don't know.
There you go. You're just
1,200
talking
feet
about
or something.
idiots that pay to torture
Yeah.
themselves.
Right.
But they make you step out onto this little tiny step. I was like,
He took it a step further and he videotaped it.
yeah. I lost the videotape though, which is the worst.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only, I mean, I look like I was gonna have a heart attack. My eyes were like saucers.
I always see people like outside and they're like, like hanging outside.
Yeah,
the
no, that
plane.
wasn't
I'm
me.
like,
Nah,
no,
Yeah.
no, that was
probably a poop trail.
yeah. Oh, I'll admit it. I mean, I think I might have. What are you gonna do? It's
It shouldn't have been a tandem jump. It was his fault.
So you at one point didn't you own a skydiving school?
Yes, I did.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I did. So I went on that Car's Eye Protection Detail. I went on that for a bit. Then I came back, and my memory serves me right. I actually took my son's mom to San Diego, and we went skydiving down there. She wanted to do that tandem jump.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you're not doing that. That's for cowards.
You made it do the
Like,
AFF?
Oh yeah, I put her through the whole AFF program.
Really?
We went like on a 7-day vacation down there, and yeah, I put her through the whole AFF.
Is that why you guys are no longer together?
Probably, probably.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that was a blast. You know.
Yeah.
Other instructors were all upset because the drop zone owner, guy named Buzz Fink, really cool guy. He had a policy where if you knew somebody, you were dating somebody or something, you couldn't take them up on a jump. Like you couldn't be their instructor. Okay, and for the right reason.
Yeah.
But he let me do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess maybe he trusts me, or maybe we're just friends, or whatever.
Those instructors, civilian, I'm sure military is the same way. They're a little bit of a different breed.
Yeah.
You know, we when I went through the AFF class. You know, it's like 6 hours, and the kid that was instructing it, his girlfriend had a malfunction, and they watched her stream to 1,000 feet
Jesus.
until she pulled her reserve. Like she was playing with it the entire time.
Yeah.
It was on videotape, and she was just trying to play with it, and going, and they're watching. They're screaming from the ground. You hear them on the videotape. They're screaming at her. And she was just the whole time, I was just trying to get it. I was trying to get it going. She almost lost her skydiving license and everything.
That's what happens with there's two types of there's many kinds of malfunction, but there's two types: high speed and low speed. And high speed is like, no shit, I got to get rid of this because I'm gonna be fucked. Like you're still pretty much in free fall. Okay. Low speed is when you're like, maybe I can work this problem out. Maybe. Let me try to fuck around with it here. Let me try to work it out. All right? That's what gets scary because now your attention focus is no longer on your altitude.
Yeah.
It's up
And
here.
it's coming up
and
quick.
You're looking up. And
Yeah.
you don't realize your rate of descent, right? You just don't realize it. So unless you're cognizant of everything going on, your altitude, just because there's a landing zone over in one location, you might not be over that landing zone. You might be over some mountains.
None of our guys that did it that day landed in a landing zone.
Right.
I landed in a swamp.
Right.
They had a radio in my arm, and they were talking, just pull a little to the right, and I landed. I just missed like a deep swamp. Mm-hmm. Another guy almost landed on a roof, but everybody was all over the place. Nobody landed in the same place.
I don't know, but I would just be pulling everything. I mean, reserves, shoelaces, whatever I could pull.
Well, the crazy part is
I wouldn't be waiting to try to figure it out.
Because Joe's talking, he's like, he's got experience, and he's like, oh, you just, messing with it.
Yeah.
When I pulled that chute, first of all, they're like, you can't let go of the ripcord. We charge you $10. You see on the videotape, the ripcord just goes.
It's
flying,
gone.
right?
It's gone.
The thing, it probably takes.
You're just throwing money. Here's $10.
And it's like a second that it takes for the thing to open. I mean, that was like, it felt like it was an hour for that thing to open. And I don't know if I would have been able to go through the steps to release it.
No, I would have went right to the reserve. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I would have started pulling.
And it's crazy, right? Because I'm sure people do that. Well, now I did it in New York, and you're not allowed to do it anymore because too many people died doing it.
What's that?
The AFF.
Oh,
they
where
canceled.
were you
So
at?
the first couple, it was in Monroe, New York.
Okay.
And too many people died doing it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
nobody should die. Nobody should die. That's crazy.
Because
it's really safe. I mean, for all of you, it is extremely safe.
Yeah.
You have a higher chance of getting in a car accident and dying,
I think it's the first couple of times you do it. You have to start tandem. So this is the first jump I did, and you were allowed to do it with just them holding on to your suit.
Yeah, it could be a natural progression with the tandem kind of.
Yeah.
Because it is a little sensory overload, but it is the same thing with the tandem, right? And then you're going to have the same amount of sensory overload when you don't have that person attached to your back.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be like, oh, shit, this is all me now, right? Maybe a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, training, or you're going into whether it's combat or whether it's, protection details, whatnot, or training. You're running through the scenario 1,000 times in your head. And people think that number 1,000, oh, that's bullshit. That's a pretty high number, right? No, fuck you. It's fucking 1,000 or more, okay?
Yeah.
All the time, every day, all the time. You were talking about some people having some real PTSD issues and stuff. Now, I'm no expert, but I think a lot of that also comes from just you're living it in your head 24/7. This angle, that angle, this elevation over there, what could
too
happen?
much.
You're looking
100%.
at people, and your whole environment's like a graph overlay, and all you're thinking about is like, if something happens, this is where I'm moving to, and this is who I'm moving through, and whatever, right? Like
I think most
all the
people
time.
with PTSD usually they live in that world, right?
Yes.
They wear the veteran's hat, they wear the the veteran shirts, and they go see the veterans on the weekend.
Well, it's like the cops. I mean, as a kid,
Yeah.
my friends' dads were cops, and who's got you got to sit with your back to the door,
Yeah.
stuff like that. They're waiting for a perp that they locked up to come in. They're always like, and it's got to be the same thing.
Well, I'm that way. I am that way. So I'll go into a restaurant and I'll make sure that my back's against the wall and I can kind of see what's coming at me. Especially if we go to like a bar or something like that, I definitely want to kind of see what's going on. I think that's just embedded.
This way, in the restaurant, I'm always like, I can throw my wife and kids in front,
Right.
of, the
Yeah.
front of the threat.
That's why you have them.
Yeah, exactly. Kidding, honey. It's a joke. She doesn't listen anyway.
He has a lot of kids he could throw. too.
Yeah, I'll tell one at a time.
But what you're talking about is natural,
Yeah.
right? Like, so you go into a restaurant. Where are your exits? Yeah, and you need to think those things. You really do need to think those things. But do you need to dwell on it all the time? Okay. Usually in every kitchen, I mean, I don't know of a restaurant any restaurant at the kitchen they have an exit in there, right? So it's not just like if you're sitting there with your back to the wall, but where are you positioned in the restaurant, and where are your exits, especially if you're with your loved ones, right? And you think a little bit, okay, here. But if you're living in that space in your head 24/7. And you can't turn that switch off, that's when a lot of problems start rising mentally.
Yeah.
Because your brain is just, I mean, the psychologists all validate this. They're the ones who came up with it. Visualizing things is 99% as effective as doing it. So, you're into jiu-jitsu.
Well,
Yeah, but,
I have a hard time saying I don't want to represent the jiu-jitsu community. Yes, I attend classes. Yes.
Right? Like, you're thinking about the scenarios. You're running through in your head, right?
I think that's my problem. I don't think about it enough. That's why I'm always getting dominated. No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but enough on that. It's like that visualization plays a huge part in it, and you got to get out of it. There's a pretty infamous Navy SEAL, and he said it on one of his podcasts, is where like, he's just like, you got to find a way to find something else, find something new, So back to the skydiving thing. It's totally safe, fun.
Yeah. I regret not doing it again.
Done.
When I did it, I swore to God I was going to go every weekend.
Yeah.
And that's 1994. I haven't been back. But I mean, I was like, I'm going to do this. I mean, it was. I can't really explain how awesome. I couldn't sleep for 3 days from the adrenaline.
Yeah.
It was just great. Like like reliving it in my head. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do that because there were kids there that were the instructors, and it was a very cloudy day. They were taking other guys up. Clouds would move in, and they would be like, all right, we can't jump because we can't go to 11, 12,000 feet. And they were like, all right, I'll see you down. And they were just going out onto the wing. The one kid was hanging upside down, screaming with it on, and then that's what they do all weekend. That's their weekend. Just go pack their chutes. I think they charge. I think it would cost like per 1,000 feet you go up or something like that. That's how this place was.
Oh, were they?
For the fun jumpers, they call them. Yeah, it was like for every 1,000 feet they pay. I mean, this is a long time ago, so it'd be $10 or something like that for every 1,000 feet that they went up. So that's what these guys did on the weekends.
When's the absolute minimum that you need to pull your reserve?
Well, there's a thing called a Cypress, all right? And that's a little computer device that's attached to your reserve. And not to go into the whole works of it, but bottom line is once you're falling through 1,000 feet, that will start its countdown. And within seconds, like about a second and a half or so, right? I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's something like that, right? Because you got to think you're falling at roughly 1,000 feet every 6 seconds, okay? And it takes a couple hundred, like on your reserve, it's going to take probably, depending on how they packed it, like roughly like 200 feet to open up, which is a very fast opening, okay?
Yeah, you pull it 500 feet.
If you're doing a terminal, it's gonna hurt. Like if your Cypress would probably activate around, and this is rough because it's been a while, I remember, but somewhere around 900 feet or so. So you'll have canopy right about 600 feet. All right, and that's low. That's really low. Imagine going from 120 miles an hour vertically down, and then all of a sudden,
I remember even when they were setting you up, make sure that the straps are the right way. You grab you. When that opens up, if that grabs your nut, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's I know a lot of I don't know a lot of people, but I always heard stories about people that were that broke their leg or something on a fall, or I always wondered when did you pull your chute? Was there a malfunction? Like why does that happen?
Like, so the standard is by 2,500 feet. Okay. But the smaller the parachute you have, the higher you're going to pull it. Because a lot of guys fly really high performance parachutes and they want to fly it around. Plus, they need more altitude.
The average person doesn't know, though. Like, they wouldn't know they're at 1,000.
Yeah.
Right?
If you're a student, you're going to be pulling somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000 feet.
Yeah, they made us pull at 5,000.
Yeah.
Dude,
If
I'm
you're a
pulling as
student.
soon as I get out that plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what?
make
Then
sure
you're
it
gonna
works.
you're gonna be in another state, though. You know, you're gonna be you're in the clouds.
I'll be alive.
Literally in the clouds.
I will be alive.
Maybe not though. You'd be surprised. What happens if you pull 11,000 feet? You don't know what you're doing.
A plane up there just comes right there.
Helicopter comes and just takes you
out.
away.
You know?
You do like the old school, what's it, Back to the Future?
Uh-huh.
You know, you grab onto the back of the car and just like starts taking you somewhere.
Let's go.
This one's going to L.A. Just following this plane.
Yeah. 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 I used to push it low all the time, though. It was a game. It was a game to me.
Yeah.
If I can be the absolute best skydiver there was, I'll be like, well, I'll beat you because I'm going to take it lower than you.
Would you ever
Like,
let your
I
son
had
do
to
it?
win.
What
Oh,
did you do?
yeah. I
Yeah.
took him out to King
Oh,
of
yeah.
Prussia.
Yeah.
King of Prussia, they have
In
that
Pennsylvania?
Sky Ventures. Yes,
Nice.
in Pennsylvania. No, what's it called? What? Yeah, the indoor wind tunnel there, whatever it's called.
Nice.
I think it's called Sky Venture.
They have one in North Jersey too. I drive by it on the way home from work. I
Okay.
just love to go in. I keep saying I'm going to stop in.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, I'd take him shooting, scuba diving, skydiving. So when he turns 18, I'd take him out if he wants to go out.
He's a good shot. We were at that event.
Yeah.
Right, and he was rocking the range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trained, like, there was a period of time when he was younger when we were doing it all the time.
Nice.
Like, so when I stopped going overseas, I was doing nursing school at Villanova, and I needed to make some money. So I went and got my Act 235 in Pennsylvania, so I could just be armed security, and, you know, it gave me a couple of dollars, whatever. But since I had guns at the house, and I think he was roughly 12-ish or 11 then, but since I had guns in the house, I started taking them out.
Nice.
Shooting. I said, well, I'll take you to the range, and we'll just do the basics, okay? And then, but we'll spend very minimal time there. I think we only went to the range maybe in the beginning, like 3 times, and then I took him out. There's a guy down in Rising Sun, Pennsylvania, has big 100 acres. He's a Vietnam veteran. Took him out there and run my son through drills and everything
Nice.
out there. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that event. You were the safety officer at Bill Brown's event for Israel. That was great. You got stuck with me for a little while. you
Yeah, it was
know?
great.
Yeah, it was very eye opening.
It was good.
You
I
know,
love the way
it's-
Bill runs that. Man.
Yeah, it was
perfect.
awesome because it was so many professionals doing the safety part
Right.
that it was just like it was the way an event should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. They raised a lot of money for that relief group too. It was a couple of
Brian's
$1,000.
going to do the Navy SEAL swim.
No, I don't know if I'm gonna make that.
In
I
August.
told Bill I haven't been training for it or anything. You know, I don't know if I'll be able to make that.
Get one of
You
those.
do it?
We
Have
get
you-
one of those scooters. Like
yeah,
the underwater
maybe,
scooter
that I could
things.
probably do.
Just
Yeah.
Get one of those and go.
Yeah. Did you ever?
It's actually a really good idea.
Did
Right.
you ever do the
Yeah.
swim?
I haven't done it, but
Yeah.
we're gonna go do it.
I always thought those guys like SEALs that's what they do. They just swim across the ocean in their spare time. But Bill and them actually train for it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like because he's in Seabright all the time training for it.
Yeah. But the Hudson's no joke.
Yeah.
How far is it? How far is the swim?
I
You
have
know?
I've looked at it a long time ago, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, just being in the Hudson with that rough water, and some of the dudes are jacked, and you see them doing they're throwing up.
Yeah.
You know, they're still going through it. Like it's not. It's
I
not
was
easy.
in the military. I was CWSQ qualified, but
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it right
Yeah.
now.
It's
So.
it's not just that. It's more like you got the run and everything else involved. I don't run anymore. My knee's shot, but there's like complete no cartilage in there at all. The doctors are like, my doctor's a guy named Dr. Arstenoda. He's the chief medical officer for the Eagles and the 76ers.
Nice.
He's like, well, when you can't stand the pain, I'll give you a knee replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold off. I can stand it for a while longer.
You got to go down to Mexico and get those stem cells jacked in there.
Right. They told me that is too far gone.
Really?
To do that. They said that's for the very beginning stages, but your knee's way too far gone. So, yeah. But so on that, there's like the run piece. But I'm going to go do it. Here, after I met Bill and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what? I should go do that.
Yeah, why not? Right? Just run
Go
it.
do it. Yeah. Yeah. My knee's already shot. Just fucking go do it.
Yeah. What
So-
could go wrong?
Yeah. My son and I were going to a Southeast Asia scuba diving tour here this coming
Oh,
summer.
cool.
But we're going to come back early because we told Bill we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So since we told Bill, we got to live up to our word, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm
Well,
going
yeah.
to see you out there.
When is that? August?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of winked when I said it. I was like, because I think I had a lot to drink when we were doing the
Yeah,
podcast.
right.
I was pretty lit up. So I don't know if he can hold me to it. You know.
Well,
So
It's on videos.
it is on video. I don't know. I was hoping that Vince edited that part out where
No,
I
it's
agreed
definitely
to do
there. I
it.
saw it. He's actually making a clip.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Vince. Can you fire him? He sucks anyway. Get rid of him.
The one eye doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that.
So I also saw that you did counterterrorism as well. You consulted for counterterrorism.
Yeah. That's just a part of like contracting stuff and
Okay.
so forth. But yeah, I'm still thinking about this swim up in Hudson and everything. I'm like, we were in Puerto Rico the other summer and diving, and I was like, well, I was trying to get them all these certifications, and we got the little the scooter.
Yeah.
And now,
You think you could sneak it on the swim?
yeah, I would try to. I would if I was young.
Because you have to wear a belt. Imagine you could get develop one.
Or just underneath, you got one arm, you're like this, just moving every once in a while.
Fake arms, like propellers.
It just
Like
goes
those
between your
wind-up
legs,
toys.
Yeah.
right? Like when we first started scuba diving together, my son and I, he'd be like, God, you got to slow it down. And then other military guys were like, Joe, you're not like racing the target. You just like relax. And I'm just like, you just kick it out. Well, I would have breathed my tank down, right? Because in the Navy, we dove the draggers.
Yeah.
And we had a certain pace we went along and so forth. But here we're diving those like
60-pound
air
bottles,
tanks and
yeah.
stuff. And I breathe that thing down so quick, I'm like, goddamn, I'm out of air here.
Yeah.
Well, we got we're in Puerto Rico and got the scooters. And we were underwater for probably an hour and a half straight. It was the most fun dive. We had a manatee following us the whole time and playing with us and stuff.
Yeah, the visibility is so great in those places.
Right. And then after that dive with that, I was like, I only want to dive with the scooter.
Yeah.
That thing, we were like, diving down and going up and doing all this stupid stuff, but it was a blast.
So much easier.
Your dad's a lazy Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Right?
He's an old SEAL.
He's an old,
yeah. He's been there, done
How
that.
old are you now?
53.
Oh, so no, he's young.
Yeah.
I just meant he was an older SEAL.
Oh, all right.
A relaxed SEAL.
50 is the new 30, Joe. So relax, all right? I get a little offended when people come after the 50.
Especially being in the Hudson. I mean, I wonder if you got to get like a tetanus shot or something before you go in there. You're going to be glowing.
Yeah,
when
there
you get
were
out.
a couple of people to get sick. I don't know if it was from exhaustion, but God only knows what's.
Probably
The water is so much
Sea
cleaner.
Hoffa or something in there, when you're
Probably all the alcohol they drank.
Yeah.
It's a
Back
big
in
party.
the old school New York, people would die during that. Like in the 70s, that was disgusting. That water was disgusting back then. But,
Oh, it got better.
they cleaned it up a lot. I used to dive out in by Jamaica Bay in the Atlantic. It was just there's plankton. Like when you're underwater, you think it's dirty, but it's not actually dirty. You can't see that good, but the green, everybody thinks it's dirty, but it's actually not. It's pretty clean.
Seaweed.
Yeah, it's just like stuff floating in there, but it's like natural. It's not like garbage or anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, no, it's a lot cleaner than you would think.
But that's what you do, right? Being military, you just tell yourself it's something different.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
Right?
You just set the mind, right?
Right? Yeah. Kind of like the left does.
Exactly.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yeah.
Not right here. Not right here, But now, current days, I'm just working on business development. So I'm a consultant for some companies. Have a New Jersey-based law firm that I'm building a book of business for in New York, having to expand their business. So that's pretty exciting stuff right there.
What type?
They do family law and guardianship.
Okay.
Yeah. The attorney's name is Lori Matsiar. So Lori Matsiar Esquire. She's been practicing here in New Jersey for like 20 years. She's been voted. There's a whole voting system for it too.
Top lawyer in the area.
Right. Like the clients determine that. So law firms will like poll their clients, and then the clients send stuff in. Then the law firm hands it over to the boards.
Lawyers rule the world.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
You got to be nice to them. You're always going to need them one day.
In business, there's like a lot of different foundational pillars, but I think three critical ones are project management, accounting or finance, and the law. And in this current day, I'm not saying it's easy, but there's a simple process to achieving all of those, right? Whoops, sorry.
Easy. Come on, calm down. Oh, you don't have to karate chop them.
Yeah, I'm always telling my son, hey, just go to school, get some project management, to do accounting, finance. Get a master's in that, then do a Juris Doctorate. It's like you can do that shit online, and then you'll be like 28 or so, 29 when you finish it, but you'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And lawyers do. The law really rules the whole world.
Yep.
So
You're involved in everything. There's no way you can't get away from.
yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a good segue for Navy SEALs is, business and in that, like the law, because Navy SEALs are used to fighting. Businesses fighting is very cutthroat, okay, and you got to be super like focused on it as a complete mission, and the law. I mean, whenever you're a lawyer, like you're always fighting about something.
It's an argument.
Right?
You got to win.
Right. You have your dopamine levels jacked up there and everything all the time. So
I learned it's not really about the law; it's about the case law.
Yeah, it's about the case law. The case law supports the statutes, but then, it's about the judges too. I mean, they're people.
How much money you give
And
them?
there's a lot of cases of that, I can go into stories on that, but the judges.
Don't name names. They'll be coming after us.
Right.
We could do a judges podcast after this.
Right. We should. I'm going to start a podcast on, lawyers and so forth, and I'm going to have judges on there and everything. That's part of the promotions for that.
That's cool.
Work.
We'll do that when now the Epstein list is getting released. We'll do
Right.
it. We'll do it the same episode.
Right.
Well, they have the Epstein list, right?
There's a new one that's
We
getting
watched it on
released.
CNN the other day. It was called Congress.
Oh, I thought
That's a good one.
I'm a big liberal. I don't like this type of talk.
Yeah. Need my safe space. And circling back to the beginning, safe space, right? Like, you go through training, and in training you always have, that DOR, that drop-on request, or that training timeout, whatnot. But you don't get that in the real world. Like in the real world, that happens. There is none.
Imagine what it looks like now. I'm sure it deteriorated a lot. I mean, whether we don't want to believe it or not. I mean, I'm sure. I know the Marine
You mean
Corps
the military?
Yeah, they're the safe spaces and
Some of the videos
How you
that are
can
coming
train, what
out
you can
are
say.
pretty like I've been not being in the military, but even just like being a civilian and you got like I'm like I don't want my kids to go in the military.
Yeah.
I mean the videos, the recruitment videos that you see coming out.
Yeah.
Or
they used to be awesome.
yeah.
Remember there was like the Marine Corps had like the dragon and the guy was like, jumping over like this Zelda type, world, and he'd whip out the sword and slay the dragon.
Right.
Now it's all like
They just had a new one when it was like a special forces guy and he's like dancing. Like, people like, what is going on here? And the guy has like all the ribbons. Like he looks legit.
I'm sure he did.
You're just glad he wasn't a SEAL
so glad
or a
I don't
Marine.
I don't watch TV. I'm glad I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That's I've heard that before though. Yeah. It's and that kind of goes back to the era where I try to stay away from that stuff because everybody talks about like, oh, when I went through training, it was so hard and this and that stuff, right?
Everybody's different. It's it's hard to different people, right? For different reasons, right? Whether it's mental, physical.
You think that yours was the hardest BUD/S class ever that ever went through?
No.
Probably not. Everybody always says that. Like it was the hardest Marine boot camp.
David Goggins said all three of his was the hardest.
Yeah. Did he go through like 3 times?
Hell Week, yeah, 3 times.
Oh, wow.
He was the first. I don't know if this is true, but he said he's the first Navy SEAL that had to go through it 3 times.
I know of 1, maybe 2 that went through twice.
Now he's cornering the UFC fight. You see that?
Yeah.
Was he on camera the other night?
Yeah.
I missed the fight. I was wiped after the event. It was Joe's birthday. He was I missed it. He's like, if you're not dead, you better get here. I fell asleep like 10 minutes after.
I was like, he's dead.
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
So David Goggins, I don't know what exactly he did in the training regiment, but he was in charge of some kind of training for Tony Ferguson.
Okay.
So
He did his physical training.
yeah.
Like, he brought him to a Goggins Pro,
And it was so funny when he was done with it. He's in the corner, and it's the last round, and David Goggins is just talking shit to him, like, "You got to go out there and kill him. You're a killer."
Did you hear the sidebar of that? It was there's this guy Craig. He's a big jiu-jitsu guy. I can't remember his name right now. He was sitting next to Sean Strickland when they had the fight before the fight broke out. So Sean Strickland's always bad-mouthing jiu-jitsu. So Craig is one of the highest level jiu-jitsu guys in the world, right? And he's telling him, and he doesn't know if he knows who he is, but he's going, yeah, jiu-jitsu sucks, and he's yelling at Goggins, tell him just to stand up. And then Goggins started repeating what Sean Strickland, meanwhile he was just trolling him.
Oh.
And he's telling Ferguson, and he was giving him the advice that Sean Strickland was, and he was just talking shit the whole time.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, that what they said that was pretty. They started punching the shit out of each other in the stands, and I guess Goggins was in the corner or whatever. But he's not a UFC guy.
It really, I mean, it was strange seeing him out there, and it was just like, it was, I don't know.
I guess
I think
physical fitness wise, I think the thing was he was going to make him really physically fit.
Yeah.
To get through the.
He was physically fit, but he was an old physically.
He's an older guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he win?
No, he got
No, he
destroyed.
lost.
Yeah.
See, that's what would scare me about training somebody. Because if they lost, and that's like a direct reflection on me.
But how old is Tony Ferguson?
41.
I mean, for UFC, that's.
And he went against Patty. I think Patty's like in his
30s,
20s,
right? His
young
20s.
20s. He's got to be
Yeah.
like 26, 27, something like that.
Yeah, I guess that was.
I think. Don't hold me to it, but I think he's around that age.
That's like dog years in UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To go against a younger kid like that.
Yeah,
that's an animal.
you know, he has like his silver fox, you know.
yeah.
So
That's the guy that would rip me apart in the street, but go against a 20-something-year-old UFC guy. That's a big
ever since he got leg kicked by Chandler, it hasn't been the same. He was the one that looked crazy, where they froze it and his whole head was over
changed
here,
his whole
and the
career.
kick was here. Yeah.
He should have conditioned himself to get kicked.
Oh,
Just keep kicking him in the head.
Kick me in the head
Be
every morning
immune
at 4 a.m.
be
Kick
immune.
me, it'll make me tougher.
Ice bath, kick in the head. Ice bath, kick in the head. That'll make him an
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
3-minute ice bath.
Yeah.
2 minutes of getting kicked in the head.
Right.
He would have got used to it. That would have made him a pussy actually if he was getting kicked in the head 3 times.
A brain dead.
Yeah.
It's probably
Ice
some of
baths
that.
fix everything.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll get a sponsor.
Yeah,
An ice
maybe.
bath, an ice bath place.
Maybe lawyers. Maybe lawyers. will
Lawyers.
sponsor.
Right.
We'll probably need him after this podcast.
Yeah, you guys should have thousands of sponsors on here.
Yeah.
You guys are,
Yeah, we.
Oh, Craig Jones is the jiu-jitsu guy I'm talking about.
Craig Jones.
He's an animal, the dude.
Hey, who is the? We were talking about this before. Who's the guy that killed Osama bin Laden? What's his name?
Rob
Rob O'Neill.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
go. We couldn't figure out his name.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess you didn't work.
His company will sponsor you.
Yeah,
Get his company to sponsor you.
he owns a brewing company, right?
Yeah,
he owns
yeah,
a beer
right.
company. Him and
There might be a competitor. We already have a sponsor.
Singer. Oh, and I don't
beer.
I'm not drinking a beer anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. I should have got one out.
Pit them against
Is
each
it,
other.
there's a bunch of other guys involved in that, right?
Probably.
I think
I'm
it's-
sure.
I feel like that guy Ray
Care?
Cash, Ray
Yeah,
Ray Care.
Ray
I
Cash
feel
Care.
like he's
Awesome guy,
Yeah.
awesome guy, yeah.
I watch his videos. He does. You talk about like the guys preparing for training.
Yeah.
He has these. I guess he does a program, and it's guys that are preparing and I guess it's kind of like a SEAL Buds type of program, and he's screaming at these guys, and there's all guys making comments.
It's called selection, I think.
Selection, yeah.
Yep.
And people going, who's this guy? And I even commented on there. I said, obviously the guy's paid for this, and they can leave at any time. Like people to troll and Ray, but when he yells, I get scared watching it on the guy's an animal. You
Right.
know? Like I was like, I wouldn't want him yelling out.
Right.
But the guys pay for, and he would do when you're saying how it's hard for guys to prepare and they, ice baths and all that. One of the videos was guy was built like a brick shit house, obviously an athlete. And he was saying, I don't want to hear about you fucking needing I guess the guy was basically saying, hey, if I had electrolytes, I'd be okay. Because that's his training regimen. The guy probably works out like an animal.
Yeah.
And he's like, he knows if I just got some liquid IV, I would probably be okay. And Ray is like, that's what I'm talking about.
This is
not, I guess
that goes right to what I'm saying. Fucking pussy.
Yeah.
You need your electrolytes.
Like someone's not going to massage your thighs and you're not getting
What are you going to do when
Gatorade.
bullets are flying? What are you going to do when bullets are flying?
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you can't get extracted? What are you going to do when you run out of water?
That's like when we were at that event. It opened up. He's the safety.
He's going to kill somebody to find some electrolytes.
I had a new rifle that I built, and I'm at that event, and Joe's he's next to me. We're doing the event, and I stovepiped around, and he's going, "Let's go!" Like they're still shooting at us. I mean, it's just obviously it's not really happening, but it was a wake-up call because I was glad it happened there. Of course, Alec Lace recorded the whole goddamn thing. I'm like that. But everybody's sitting there, I got guns. I go to the range. I shoot at paper targets. And meanwhile, that gun performed perfect at the range. 2 days before, me and my son, I probably ran 300 rounds through it. Now I'm thinking, I missed the gun guy. I got my AR-15. I'm going to take out the zombie apocalypse. I bring it to that event. I probably got a little dirt in it, and it malfunctioned.
What type of rifle did you have?
An M4 AR, like a build. It was one of those builds.
Okay.
Nice. Not no, nothing fancy or anything like that.
Why did it malfunction? Do you know?
It was it wound up being wasn't oiled enough. It was a new build.
Yeah.
It had been and I had cleaned it after running through it lightly, and then YouTube. It's don't oil too much. You get. Meanwhile, then I'm watching the other guys there going,
Yeah.
no. All they was squirting oil in a
Yeah,
thing,
100%.
and then it was fine.
Yeah.
But thinking, I go to the range. I'm thinking. Meanwhile, that guy, somebody could have been chasing me through my house with that thing, and that's when I was glad that I had the malfunction sitting next to you, and you're going, okay, that's this is not real, but. It was better than a guy chasing me through my house while it was happening, thinking I was ready to rock and roll.
It's actually good. The more things like that occur in training, it prepares you for the real thing.
Yeah.
Right. So people who just go through and have no adversity, have no problems, they're actually much more susceptible to failure. Okay, to freezing up when they have to perform. All right, and they don't have a choice. Right. I won't say shot at, but I'll say the first time I was down range and bullets were like whizzing by me, right? JTF 6, Joint Task Force 6 operation, and you can find it online nowadays. They call it something else. But it was, I don't know, I think 93, if I remember right. First SEAL platoon, and we're down in Texas just being eyes on an area for local law enforcement. And we happened to be dug into some a river embankment. We just made cylindrical holes in there, and we lived in there for like 2 weeks.
No.
Okay, we had our high site set up with radios and so forth back in another area. Well, this one dude kept coming back and forth on the beach.
Was it like a border patrol type of thing?
So it was for border patrol, and then there were some local like agents out there and stuff, and they had like poachers and whatever. And the value to us was just getting some practice at doing reconnaissance stuff, right? So we're out there, and like to me, there were days when it's sunny and it's nice, and there's pontoon boats going around, and there's girls on there, and they're having fun. Yeah. And I'm young 20s, and I'm like, God dang, I should have went to college.
Yeah.
But then this one dude comes back and forth. We're probably about 120 meters, on the river embankment. Like the river was about that wide, and there's a man-made beach. So this guy comes to man-made beach. Then he leaves. Then he comes back, and he's wearing a trench coat, which was odd in the summertime, and in Texas there. And then he's walking around. He goes back. The third time he comes back, one of the older guys goes, "Hey, new guy, fucking go call this guy in." So I do, and as I'm bebopping back up there to the river embankment, I heard like a ping on a tree. And then all of a sudden, to my right, same thing, and rapid succession.
Wow.
Probably about 20 or so rounds coming right
From
by
this
me.
guy?
Yeah, from this guy. Now, I didn't know that at the time, but I did know, like, after I heard the second one, I knew exactly what it was, and my whole world shrunk.
Yeah.
And then probably a second or two later, like I was like back and running up there to where the guys were at and stuff, and everybody was out of their holes behind trees and stuff, and there were bullets like landing in our like right where we're at, and in that river embankment. And so, with that being said, it just goes back to like, okay, you're visualizing things, you're thinking about stuff that could happen, and angles and so forth all the time, like and that's what keeps you ready and keeps you sharp. So same thing that like, yeah, you kept getting a jam there, stovepipe, whatever. But you got to keep working the problem.
Yeah.
You got to keep working the problem. Okay. You can't just sit there and, hey, I got to take some cover. Or I got to get low, fix this here. And then, same thing with skydiving, right? My first malfunction, I was, because remember I said I like to go low, right? I was by nowhere the best instructor, by nowhere the best flyer, right? And I was like, well, I'll show you guys. I'll go lower than each and every one of you. And I would take it down to literally, because there's different ways you can pack your parachute. So I would sometimes I'd pack where I had like a 300-foot opening, and I would be like, okay, so I could pull this at like 1,300 feet and beat the Cypress, right? And depending on where I was in relationship to where I had to land at on the drop zone, all right, I would take it down low. And the very first malfunction I had, it was probably like somewhere around jump 800 or 1,100. And I had no clue what it was. All I know is I was really low, and I threw out my pilot chute there, and immediately, like the bag comes off your back, lines come up,
And you packed it.
oh yeah, I packed it immediately. As the risers came up, and I'm looking, the parachute starts to come down, just comes out of the bag, and I feel on my right side, I feel something. I don't know what it was, and I knew something wasn't right. I just knew it, and I knew how low I was. I immediately cut away and went right to my reserve. I had a reserve out probably about 800 feet. Okay?
Wow.
I was way off the drop zone, way out there. And people were like, they were telling me a story. They were like, yeah, cut away right there. And people were like, where? Because everybody's looking up high, right?
Yeah.
But like I was eye level, to them.
Yeah.
And but you don't like. I'm not saying to do something like that, right? But like when you think about procedures and you think about these emergencies and what could go wrong and what's your reaction, okay? Like I knew where I was at. I knew what I had to do. And it wasn't the first time it happened to me because I'd lived that in my head many times over again. I was just prepared. Every jump came on, So it's good that happened. And
Yeah, I was glad it happened in training because it got rid of the notion of I got this gun. It's always going to be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
It was like, no, this thing, it had a malfunction and it didn't work. It went click. Like I remember clearing it. You were like, okay, and then click. And then we thought something might have broken it. But then I went over and it turned out it just wasn't oiled enough and it wasn't feeding back and it was just literally a rookie mistake.
It was also a built gun too, right?
Yeah. So I mean, me and somebody else built it, who's had multiple builds, but not a gunsmith. And the guy did a great job, and he's got 6 other ones that he did, and never had a problem with them. But I just think it's,
Yeah.
it was probably me just not oiling it. I was also pushing the charging hand. You were like, stop pushing the charging handle, because just rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't have much rifle experience. I think that was probably the 4th time I ever shot an AR.
What did it shoot? What's the caliber?
5.56.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the event was great because we had a bunch of different. I mean, it was all different levels. There was some serious shooters there. There were people that are. We had the Gold Star parents there, the strangers, which was pretty wild. Seeing them go through kind of like what their son did, which is pretty wild. I mean, it was pretty eye opening. Going, they were at this event and it's like. Their son was in DevGru and got killed on Extortion 17. It was pretty like, wow, they're here, these Gold Star parents, just, getting a little taste of what their kid used to do, which was pretty wild. But I thought that was a really good event. Anyway.
Yeah. Look forward to more of them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was, as a gun owner, that's something I would want like my whole family to go to.
And we should go out all the time. I
would like to.
I got lots of guns and lots of ammo.
Nice.
And I got sources of ammo like in the supply.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got lots of new guns I got to shoot.
Yeah, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, we got the perfect outdoor range to go do it at.
Yeah.
We should just go do it. Like, I love shooting.
Yeah.
Where's
that
that?
range we went to was
Pennsylvania?
really nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right in Pennsylvania there.
Yeah, that guy runs classes. There was who was it? I think Sentinel Group. The guy James that was there. He was a medic.
Give him a shout out. What's the name of the company? Do you know?
It's just a private farm.
Is it?
Yeah, but he ran like the guy. There's a bunch of different people. Do you run classes?
James, who you're talking about, who was
he was a medic. James Price. Yep. Yeah, he's a really good guy. He was a medic.
I met with him the other day. Talked about his business. And
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah. He's a real good guy.
Real professional. I think he was a medic in the Rangers, maybe.
He was
Something like
I know
that.
he was medic, and I know that he went into like police, like law enforcement, military. Yeah.
But everybody, it was good because being a novice, it was nice because it wasn't just a bunch of bros going to the range and who's been to the range more. It was guys that, this guy James was an instructor and he was a medic. Like the guy had treated people in combat for real, and then there was Bill's a SEAL, he's a SEAL, Joe's a SEAL, you had Joe was a Ranger, there was a bunch of other, and then even some of the participants, it was an event to raise money for
the Jewish Foundation.
The Jewish Foundation,
Israel.
National Jewish Foundation. I forget the name of the group.
Yeah.
But they're doing relief work for the people getting murdered in Israel, and there was Israeli guys there. One of One of the guys, he was related to somebody that's a hostage.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the guy who the lacrosse coach. That was pretty wild. The guy gave a speech. One of his players was one of the kids that got murdered at the music festival.
Right.
Jeez.
And the kid used to run lacrosse games for the teach Palestinian kids how to play lacrosse. And he gets murdered by Hamas at this at that music festival. Well, I mean, watching the guy gave a whole speech about it. It was terrible. But a whole cross section of shooting experience.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Well, if your weapon's going to jam, it's a good group of guys to be around.
No, it was because Joe, who was a ranger, and he's like, oh, the buffer too. I hear the spray, and it was just it's a build. I mean, a lot of the guys do those builds and they add all kinds. Oh, you have to add this, you have to add that, and I was like, I bought it. It was basically stock. I did the modifications to make it legal,
Right.
and I was like, I'm not gonna. I'll let it break. Let it, before you start adding different things to it. I can't spend $5,000.
Just don't whip it out during the apocalypse. You might want to keep that weapon
It's actually for the coming apocalypse.
That's like the last resort.
Or just make sure you're standing next to a tall guy.
Yeah.
Behind the tall guy. Behind
the tallest guy in the room. Yeah.
Or just dip it in a bucket of oil,
But if it even attack, I mean, he's teaching me, showing me, and he's like, all right, doing the keeping your eye, don't when you go to reload. It's stuff that civilians. I mean, as a civilian, you guys take that training for granted a little bit because you had instructors teaching you how to do it. You have guys. I mean, I could have put 5,000 rounds down the range. I wouldn't learn what I learned using maybe less than 200.
Usually when people are shooting at me, I just like, time out.
Yeah, time out.
I got to reload.
Yeah, just hold. Hold. And the other thing it made you realize is how ridiculous the magazine limits are.
Yeah.
Like even doing those drills, one guy is advancing. So while I was jamming, he's covering and he's shooting. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I was being like reserved, like when I was shooting, because I have a 10-round magazine. You're like, it's so ridiculous. Like if you were actually in a firefight, you're like, 10-round magazine, really?
What's the limits in Pennsylvania?
30.
Is it 30?
Well, first off, I don't know if there's a limit, but I know 30-round mags are legal over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
so here you can't. So you have to buy them with the.
It's part of communism.
Yeah, pretty
Total
much.
communism.
It's
total communism.
It's just there's no level playing field for the.
I just don't want you to be able to fight back,
Well, the crazy part is that it's standard. It's a 30-round magazine, and you go into the range, you're shooting, whatever. God forbid there's ever a real firefight, but you have to buy it with the. In Jersey, they only sell them.
And those 9+1s are so tight that it's like it's almost impossible to jam them in.
Yeah,
especially when you talk about a 9mm.
Yeah, he was even like I had new mags. I had a new mag holder, and he was showing me how to reach for it and everything. And the thing is jammed in there. It's tight as hell. I was like, if this was a firefight, I'd be dead.
I have a loader for my 9mm, and just literally just poke it down, loads, and it's right back into the magazine.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah. When the apocalypse happens, we're screwed.
It's I've never been a big carry a gun guy.
Yeah.
There was a phase when I was younger when I was like that, but that was a phase too when I was like every Friday if I was around the team area, I would go get my allotted 200 rounds and go to the range and go shooting and stuff on my own. But then when you look at the civilian sector and being a civilian, like. The moment you pull that gun out, you're going to jail.
Yeah. No matter what.
It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You're going to jail. And there was even I think a good story on that is there was a guy in Pennsylvania. He had his Act 235, right? So he's an armed security guy, licensed, etc. But he did not have a concealed carry. And underneath the Act 235 license, you're allowed to go from your home to your place of work, place of work to home. You can't stop at a gas station. You can't make any stops. But
that's like that with every gun law, though, isn't it?
So he didn't have. I don't know. I really don't know all the gun laws. That's why I'm just like.
Yeah, no. The gun law for New Jersey is you're allowed to carry your weapon to work,
to the range.
Work to range.
You can get now. You can actually get a concealed carry permit in Jersey. I haven't done the paperwork yet.
I'm just talking about regular handling, like your registration for your firearm. You're allowed to handle it and have it from your place of business to your home.
Well, it's got to be like when I go to the range, I have the ammo separate,
and you have to have it separate and locked up and all that stuff.
Really. Yeah, they're real particular about it.
But those are the same. The to and from is the same.
I wouldn't have a limited license. I'd have to get like the concealed carry, have everything.
Yeah.
But like
Bring
this
it to
guy,
Wawa if I want to.
he stopped at some party to pick up his girlfriend because she called him. Right? But he blocked the traffic. You know Philly, the way they are down there. He was blocking some traffic, whatever. And somebody got upset, and the person got upset, pulled out a gun on him. So this guy pulled his gun and shot the dude, killed him.
Yeah.
Cops came, Philly cops. They're like, justifiable homicide. Wrote it off, no big deal. All right. Well, the family went and got an attorney involved, and that attorney was like, he went to the DA and said, no, if this individual was not there with his gun, which he wasn't licensed to have his gun, he was only licensed to go from work to home. But if this individual wasn't there, this incident would have never occurred, and that guy would still be alive. Therefore, you need to charge him. It was some kind of homicide.
The guy would have pulled the gun on him anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. Then your guy would have went to jail.
Everything these days favors the criminals. For
you
some
know,
reason.
you got to understand, like if you're gonna carry a gun or anything like that, you got to understand the gun laws. And there's more than just like, the cops are subject to the same thing civilians are. They have a little more leniency on there, but they're really subject to the same thing all the civilians are. But like I don't remember all the factors that go involved. I do remember like you had to have like no reasonable means of escape.
Yeah, that's how Jersey is. You have to like in this room, there's no escape.
There's no escape.
But if there's a door, you have to get out.
Right.
Like that guy'd be saying, "I'm going to kill you," and you're like, "No, you could have ran away."
Right. So my solution is this: just make sure that the guy's on top of you, like you're on the ground, the guy's on top of you, pull your gun out then and blast him in the head. That way the blood splatter will show. Like, right?
It's so crazy though. I mean,
Yeah,
you literally have to be almost being murdered. And they'll be like, I don't know. Maybe we should really prosecute this guy just in case.
Right. And then what happens if there's an active shooter? So like when I would do those security jobs, like down by the Rocky Steps, I forgot the name of the area it's called, but Rocky Steps in Philly, there's a Whole Foods right there. 2 side entrances go right up the stairs. All right. The other security people, they would always stand right there. I wouldn't do that. I would go over. There's a cafeteria area, a bar area. There's a space up above there. Okay, I would go up there and watch my Blue Bloods and stuff, and just watch some Netflix, whatever.
The guy in the front's gonna get shot first.
Right, the guy in the front's gonna get shot. Man, I'm like, I'm not hanging out there. That's ridiculous. So I go to an elevated position that's obscure, and I just chill out.
Yeah.
And do my shift. Well, another guy that worked for the company came and he's like, Joe, what are you doing up here? I'm like, well, I'm chilling out, watching some Blue Bloods, because that's a cool show. Or that's what it's called, right? That cop show.
Yeah.
And then he goes, yeah, but why aren't you down there? And I was like, because I'm not going to be the first one shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to react to the gunshot.
Yeah. And I said, I'm not here to do like hall monitor stuff. If something pops off, I'm going to call the police first. And then maybe I'll shoot the guy or whatever. But, we'll see what happens there. He looked at me really dumbfounded. And I'm just like, like I'm not going to be like that Marine in New York, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
guys getting charged with murder.
Right? That's ridiculous. And for what? For protecting somebody.
Yeah.
For protecting somebody. Doing everything that every man
problem was
should
that
do.
when the cameras came out, he should have said, let him go and let him go wild and again. Because unfortunately, he was trying to protect people, trying to do the right thing.
When the cameras came,
the kid, unfortunately.
And there was other people there helping him.
Oh, yeah.
Helping him hold him down.
Right.
Yeah.
And people come out with the cameras thinking, oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
This is some, like, whatever.
You know that they found an article from, I think it was the New York Post, from 10 years before that incident, because people were saying, oh, he was just a street performer. And the guy was, I think he was schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And it was an article 10 years before warning people about this performer that, like, he's a danger. He's a menace to society.
Right.
In the train stations. Like, that was 10 years before.
What was the end result with that? Did he go to prison, the kid?
He hasn't gone to court yet.
Yeah.
They're charging him with homicide.
Yeah.
Like that kid could be going to jail for 25 years.
Jesus.
And
all for doing the right thing.
For trying to do the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the other guy ended up dead. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of heart for that stuff. I'm like, good, you got rid of him. Fine.
Yeah,
like,
he
was a
definitely
bad person.
He voted, and he was obviously. I mean, he was mentally ill. He was a drug addict. The system failed that guy. The system failed the society. by just letting him do what he
I'm not
does.
saying that it was justified to kill a guy because he was a drug
And even
addict.
kill him. I mean, the guy. I think.
Yeah, right. Like,
I think he had a heart attack or something. I think he was on fentanyl or something like that. As far as I think, if I'm
so
right.
extenuating circumstances
Yeah,
is why
I guess
died.
him resisting against instead of just stop fighting. I guess he wound up dying from
guess
it.
that's
Heart
the
rate
lesson.
went up.
Yeah, I assume so. Something like that.
Yeah.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
The system failed everybody. Now this kid's going to go to jail for, he's more, I mean, in New York, in Manhattan, see how it is, how hard it is to get that.
I remember when I was
Sure.
a teen, I was going from Beaverton, Oregon down to Portland, Oregon. I would take this bus route all the time. I always rode a skateboard. And I was on the bus, and as we were entering the city limits of Portland, Oregon, it was nighttime, okay? And some dude was like getting rowdy. I don't even know what his problem was. I think he was drunk or something, but he was harassing everybody on there. And then he really started harassing this woman like right in front of me, okay? Like sexually harassing her, okay? And I said something to him, and he looked at me, and he was this messy guy, like true cholo kind of guy. And when I said something to him, and then he moved towards me, I just got up and I just started hitting him.
Yeah.
Like just wildly just started punching him. And he goes down. I like overpower him. He goes down. And when he's on the ground, on the buses you have those rails, right?
Yeah.
I'm holding onto the rails and I'm jumping up and down on him.
Yeah.
Like literally just stomping on the guy.
What year?
And
that was when
I was
before
like
cell phones.
17
Yeah.
or something.
Now
Yeah.
that would be all over the
It
internet.
would be all over the internet, everything,
Yeah.
right? And the only thing that stopped me was some lady said, "Don't kill him."
Yeah.
Like she came put her hand on my arm and she's like, "Don't kill him."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh."
Oh, maybe.
Okay, that brought me back.
All right, let me stop.
Me
Let
and
me
my friends and I, we got off the bus and we were walking. I was close to my mom, lived downtown Portland, and I was going to see her. So we were getting close, and the cop stopped us, and the bus was there. And the cop said, "You do this?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." I mean, he was attacking people on there, and then he turned towards me. He's going to attack me. And they're like, "Okay, go ahead, go."
Imagine
Leave.
Portland today.
Right?
What
Imagine what that'd be like today.
You'd be. Oh my God.
I'd be in handcuffs. I'd be gone forever.
Yeah. Oh, you'd
and-
be a demon. You'd be.
They would call you a Caucasian Filipino.
Right?
That's when you'd be like, I'm not a white guy. I'm Filipino. I swear.
Yeah, the first thing. That's what was funny about the what was that? The Trayvon Martin deal with what's that guy's name?
Zimmerman.
Yeah,
They
Zimmerman.
were like, he's a white guy.
Yeah,
we
he's
were
a
like,
white
no,
guy.
he doesn't
I was like-
belong to us.
I was like, "Are you serious?" He looks back. He doesn't look white to me.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever seen where it said like Caucasian Mexican.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What the hell's a Caucasian Mexican?"
The Mexicans were like, you guys can have him. No, he's not one of, we don't want this one.
Take him.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Joe. I really appreciate it. It's a
Yeah,
good
thanks
time.
for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Definitely come out anytime.
Yeah. Let's take this out to the shooting range sometime.
Absolutely.
Let's go out that.
Yeah, we'll get some mobile mics and
and
we'll shoot them up.
We'll do it.
Watch me fail again.
Okay.
You guys can make fun of
That'd be
me.
blast. We'll set up some more courses and stuff. That'd be blast.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
This was the American Sidebar. Have a good day.